Hello everyone! In this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Moeed Pirzada to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Moeed Pirzada's words. It is already the morning of Friday, June 27th, 2025. So we are currently in the morning of Friday. Now about this date, what makes it significant is that 3 days ago, on June 24th, 2025, an extremely influential American foreign policy journal, Foreign Affairs, published an article titled How to Survive the Nuclear Age. This article briefly mentioned Pakistan, stating that American intelligence has concluded that Pakistan is developing intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, capable of hitting the United States. And if that is indeed the case, then under American policy, Pakistan could be treated as a nuclear adversary. I read this article at the time because I'm subscribed to Foreign Affairs, but honestly, I felt it wasn't particularly significant, and I will explain to you why I felt that way. However, in the past 3 days, Indian newspapers have picked up the story extensively. There are probably hardly any major Indian papers or media outlets that haven't reported on or developed the story in various ways. Hundreds of Twitter handles are also debating it, including some Pakistani accounts that are presenting counter-narratives in response. So, what is this issue? Where is it coming from? What is its significance? I will present an informed analysis on this. Another issue currently in focus is the evolving situation in the Iran-Israel war and what the consequences have been for Iran, for Israel, and for the United States-Israel relationship. Third, we have the situation in Pakistan. On Thursday, several Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leaders, including Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Chief Minister Ali Amin Gandapur and Imran Khan's sisters, were present at the Islamabad High Court in connection with the Al-Qadir University case. They were hoping for the start of proceedings, or at least a hearing date, but, well, that did not happen. Following this, Imran Khan's sister Alima Khan gave a press talk. What she said and what its significance is for Pakistan's politics at this stage will also be examined. Clearly, from all these topics, many more issues arise. But before diving into all of that, let me remind you, if you haven't joined this channel yet, please subscribe, click the bell icon, and turn on all notifications on YouTube. Also, I have created a WhatsApp channel to keep direct contact with you. The link is in the pinned tweet, the description, and sometimes even in the end notes or screens. Now let's begin. This really helps. It really helps in reaching out to you. Let's first talk about the India-Pakistan-America nuclear issue. What is this all about? So far, no major Indian newspaper has failed to cover this. Their headlines on social media are dominated by this topic. As I said, hundreds of Twitter accounts are discussing it. The main point being made is this. Pakistan is allegedly running a secret intercontinental ballistic missile program. That is, Pakistan is reportedly developing sophisticated missiles capable of striking the United States mainland. American intelligence has concluded this is a serious threat, and therefore Pakistan could be declared an adversary. One informed, Pakistani military-related Twitter handle that is discussing this should definitely be followed. When I first recommended following it, around the time of the Iran-Israel conflict, it had about 15 or 16,000 followers. Now, around 400,000 people follow it. It provides highly objective analysis, including official or semi-official Pakistani government perspectives in response to what the Indian media is saying. I won't repeat what it says. You can go there and see what narrative they're trying to present. So what is this whole story? Where is it coming from? What is it really? Let's first understand what is Foreign Affairs. It is perhaps the most influential journal on American foreign policy. It's published by the Council on Foreign Relations, which is a think tank located primarily in New York, with branches in Washington, D.C., and, globally. There are basically two types of articles published in Foreign Affairs, those requested by the editorial board and those pitched by independent experts or academics. Usually, these articles are written by people with experience in government or presidential administrations, as part of what's called the revolving door policy, moving between government, academia and think tanks. The article titled How to Survive the Nuclear Age was published on June 24th, 2025, and, well, it's quite detailed. You actually need a Foreign Affairs subscription to read it. This article came out after the brief India-Pakistan war, which ended on May 10th, 2025, and before the Iran-Israel war that began on June 13th, 2025. So it shows the authors were unaware of the Iran-Israel war when writing it, though they do mention possible tensions. The article was written by two Indian-origin academics, Vipin Narang a professor of nuclear security and political science at MIT, and Pranay Vadi, or possibly Ankit Panda, as the text is, a bit unclear but suggests one of them. Vipin Narang was also a Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Space Policy during the Biden administration from 2022 to 2024. Pranay Vadi was Senior Director for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation at the National Security Council. So, both are government insiders, not just academics. The article's main focus is on China, Russia and North Korea, specifically China's nuclear policy under President Xi Jinping. It discusses how China has doubled its nuclear arsenal from around 300 in 2019 to over 600 in 2025, and is on track to have 1,500 by 2035. These weapons are being deployed in silos and on submarines, making them, pretty hard to detect. Russia, too, has used nuclear threats, especially tactical weapons, during its conflict with Ukraine, essentially blackmailing the West and limiting their support to Ukraine. Now a triangular alliance is forming between Russia, China and North Korea, posing a major risk to the United States. The article argues that the US must renew its nuclear doctrine and upgrade its capabilities, as its previous era of reduced nuclear emphasis, like during Obama's time, is over. The authors also argue that about 34 US allies rely on American nuclear protection, so this is, critical. So where does Pakistan fit into all this? Nowhere, really. Almost the entire article is focused on China, Russia and North Korea. Suddenly, in a single paragraph of about 6 or 7 lines, Pakistan is mentioned. Yet another threat comes from Pakistan, it says. US intelligence has concluded that Pakistan is developing ICBMs capable of striking the US from South Asia. The authors acknowledge that Pakistan's official position is that its nuclear posture is India-centric. However, they speculate that Pakistan may be developing these ICBMs to deter the US from carrying out any preemptive strike on its nuclear assets and to serve as a counter-threat in case the US tries to take control of its nuclear weapons in the event of an India-Pakistan conflict. This single paragraph is what Indian media has blown out of proportion over the past 3 days. Initially, I ignored it when I read it on June 24th or 25th. I didn't realize it would create such a buzz. But now, many people, including Pakistani Americans on WhatsApp, have been sharing it with me and asking for comment. I promised one doctor I would provide detailed analysis, and here it is. From the noise about Pakistan to what lies along the coast, the graphical distance via a missile or cruise flight to America is approximately 12,000 to 14,000 kilometers. Formally speaking, India already possesses missile systems with longer ranges. However, this entire article assumes that India is a friend of the United States, and therefore America need not be concerned about India's missile capabilities because India's posture is not aggressive toward the United States. Pakistan's posture, however, is considered aggressive toward America. While reading this article, a question arises in the mind: why is there an alarm only for Pakistan? Pakistan is often accused of being a lackey state of the United States. According to the vast body of political science and foreign affairs literature, the serious literature on Pakistan often claims that the Pakistani military, establishment and state are merely tools in the hands of the US, that Pakistan is like a toy for America. But now, this article suggests that the US may face a threat from Pakistan, while India, which already possesses longer-range missile systems, is not considered a threat. Within this article from Foreign Affairs, the two professors also discuss the components of America's nuclear doctrine. There are two particularly important components. The US must have the capacity and capability to absorb a nuclear strike from an adversary and still have enough of its nuclear stockpile left to carry out a powerful retaliatory strike. The enemy must know that the US has such a vast and diversified nuclear arsenal that no enemy can destroy or overpower it. The second element is counterforce targeting. The US must have the capability to destroy enemy missiles before they are launched or immediately after launch. After reading all this, one wonders, where exactly is this conclusion from US intelligence coming from? Because if you research on Google and check various American publications, you won't find at any stage that US intelligence, government, military, or even think tanks have made any such claim. Despite there being dozens of US nuclear-related think tanks, like Stimson, Foreign Policy and so on, none have made such claims. So where is this narrative coming from? It appears in the article How to Survive in a Nuclear Age. Keep in mind that this narrative emerged right after the 4-day war between India and Pakistan. Since then, it seems the Indian defense establishment has been quite uneasy. especially given the surge in publications related to India's defence posture, missile systems, and newly acquired weapon systems in the past 6 weeks. On December 19th, 2024, there was a notable event. John Feiner, the then Deputy National Security Advisor in the outgoing Biden administration, spoke at a seminar at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He stated that Pakistan is developing sophisticated rocket systems that can target areas beyond South Asia. On the same day, the outgoing Biden administration also blacklisted 4 Pakistani missile-making entities. Feiner mentioned it as a concern but did not specify whether it was an intercontinental ballistic missile or ICBM program. Interestingly, despite reports that during the 4-day war, Pakistan launched many missiles at Indian airports, airbases and targets, the Indian and American sources said the missiles missed their targets and were extremely crude. Yet now, the claim being made is that Pakistan is developing missiles sophisticated enough to hit the United States, places like Miami, a circus or a cinema hall. If Pakistan's missiles couldn't even hit nearby India, how would they accurately strike America? On further research, you'll find that on December 20th, an Indian Twitter account, followed by around 250,000 people and connected to India's defence industry, claimed that India had shared intelligence with the US, warning that Pakistan is developing sophisticated ICBMs and rockets capable of reaching the US. So what's the conclusion? It seems to me, based on my analysis and suspicion, that this Foreign Affairs article written after the 4-day war was likely pitched rather than solicited. Both Indian academics who wrote it refer to a conclusion that supposedly comes from US intelligence. But if it is an American conclusion, it is based on Indian sources. Because if this were truly an independent US intelligence assessment, it would have caused a major stir, and we would have seen real consequences, not just read about it in Indian newspapers or from Indian academics. Therefore, this seems to be a kind of mental disturbance on the part of the Indian defence establishment following the war. Yes, India did conduct precise strikes on Pakistani bases, but the overall political outcome of the war was not satisfying for India, leading to this kind of narrative building. A similar debate is ongoing in the US after the Iran-Israel conflict. The Trump administration continues to claim that it obliterated Iran's entire nuclear program, but leaked US intelligence assessments suggest that Iran only suffered a temporary setback of a few months. Even Israeli assessments in their media say that Iran did not suffer long-term damage. At the same time, a different debate is unfolding in the US that Israel used America in this war. It is being said that President Biden and the US system were forced into attacking Iran to give Israel an exit strategy from the conflict, and that this action went against their better judgment. Israel only agreed to a ceasefire after America attacked Iran, essentially giving Israel an excuse to back off. Steve Bannon, a key proponent of the American far-right MAGA movement, recently claimed that US-Israel relations need a reset, arguing that Israel is not really an ally, but a protectorate that blackmails the US into fighting its wars. Now turning back to Pakistan, June 26 has ended, and June 27 has begun. You may have seen, or perhaps missed, that Imran Khan's sister Alima Khan posted multiple frustrated messages on Facebook regarding the Al-Qadir University Trust case. She criticized the delays and obstacles in Imran Khan's legal relief. On June 26, members of Imran Khan's family and his legal team appeared in Islamabad High Court, along with some PTI leaders like Ali Amin Gandapur, Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Alima Khan clarified in a press conference that they were only delivering Imran Khan's message regarding the budget for agricultural reforms, not issuing commands as his family. In the court, the prosecutor once again said he wasn't prepared and requested more time. What upset Alima Khan most was that the judge refused to give a next hearing date, citing the unavailability of judges. She protested, claiming that deliberate hurdles were being placed to block Imran Khan's release. Barrister Salman Safdar also expressed frustration, noting that the case is weak and should be resolved in minutes. All the money in question is still with the state of Pakistan, yet they are claiming financial loss. Here's my brief analysis. This suggests that General Asim Munir's team knows the case won't survive scrutiny in a high court, so they are avoiding proper hearings. Secondly, they are sending a message to Imran Khan. You will only get relief if you negotiate directly with us, not through the judiciary. Imran Khan, on the other hand, insists he will stand firm on principles, So that's where things currently stand. That wraps up our translation of Moeed Pirzada's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.